A very cool and glossy good morning to everyone. Today we are continuing with video 3. We will be continuing over here just after the integration. We will be continuing from the last topic in which we studied the integration of princely state. Okay. So as I had told you in the last video that integration of princely state was very important for Indian Union. Indian Union's government. At the time, interim government was ruling. Is it okay? Interim government was that government which was formed out of the Constituent Assembly to run the country at once. Okay? So, it had to deal with the issue of merger of princely state. In last video, I told you that at the time there had been 565 princely states. Almost all these states merger was very necessary for making a strong India, a united India, organized India. Okay, Britishers had provided three kind of options to the rulers of these princely states. One, that they could join India. Other, that they could go and join Pakistan. And third one, that if they wanted independent status for themselves, they could go along. Okay, so now there was a possibility of breaking up of India into a number of states. Okay, so government of India was ready to be flexible, to provide autonomy, to provide internal freedom to all these rulers on the merging issue, on the merger issue. Okay, this all we had discussed in the last video. Today we will be taking the cases of the difficult merger of some of the states. We are beginning with the first and foremost case, that is the Hyderabad case. Hyderabad's case is really a remarkable example of merger of princely states in Indian Union. It was the one of the finest example that how much difficult it was for government of India to bring in all these princely states in Indian Union. Okay, so we begin. First and foremost case is Hyderabad's case. Hyderabad was the largest of princely state. Okay, as I told you at that time, on the eve of 15th August 1947, there had been 565 princely states. Out of them, Hyderabad was the largest princely state. Its ruler was Nawab. Okay, means Muslim. Okay, Hyderabad had mixed population. Both Hindus and Muslims were there in Hyderabad. Okay, today Hyderabad is the capital city of Andhra, but in those times it used to be a state in itself. Okay, it used to be a province in itself. Nawab used to rule over there. Okay, the ruler was Muslim, and under the ruler population was mixed. Both Hindus and Muslims were there. Clear? So Hyderabad was being surrounded by Indian states all around. Just consider this. Just consider this as Hyderabad princely state. Okay. All around there had been Indian states. Clear? If now, as per the Britishers' proposal, if Hyderabad decides to join Pakistan, what would happen? This would be a portion of Pakistan in the stomach of India, and a permanent problem would be there if it goes and joins Pakistan. Is it? First thing. Is it? Second thing, if it remains independent, then too there will be problem, because from there activity against India could run easily, as it would be smaller, so there would be some other kind of problem there. So it was very necessary for the interim government to deal with the Hyderabad case very particular way, because it was surrounded all around by Indian states. So its merger was very crucial, and it was a serious issue on the point of view of security. Clear? Now, what happened when government of India approached Nawab? Okay, he came in standstill agreement with Indian government. Okay, what is standstill agreement? standstill agreement is a strategy in which two teams who are on an agreement, one team keeps up it in waiting. Okay, I'm thinking, we'll discuss, we'll do it. Okay, that type of issue would be a standstill agreement. Okay, Nawab wanted more and more time to come on the merger issue. Okay, it was delaying the proposals of Government of India. Okay, so that was something. Standstill agreement means on an issue you keep waiting someone. Okay, so that was happening. In between, what Nawab did, Nawab knew it very carefully, very personally, that Hyderabad is having a significant population of Hindus who would never like that Hyderabad should join Pakistan. Okay, so what he did, he started allowing his paramilitary force, who were known as Rajakars, to pressurize, to attack on non-Muslims, especially Hindus of the Hyderabad. Okay, were targeted by Rajakars. Rajakars were paramilitary force of Nawab. They started attacking on Hindu areas of Hyderabad. They started attacking, started killing, raping, maiming the non-Muslim population of Hyderabad state. In that case, people started migrating from there, people started running away from there, and they started approaching to the Indian states who were being attached with the Hyderabad. In that case, Indian government got the chance to send army. Okay, when Indian government found that there had been disturbances, there had been clashes, there had been problems, Indian government, the Home Ministry of Indian government at the time, Sardar Patel, Home Minister of India, sent Indian army at once over there. And after a short passage, after some days struggle, the Nawab was arrested, Rajakars were put to Rajakars were made to defeat, and Nawab was made to sign, to come on the sign of instrument of accession, and this way Hyderabad was cleverly integrated in Indian Union. Okay, so this was the story of Hyderabad, which was somehow managed to be integrated with the Indian Union. Though Indian government used force, but it was necessary on the cause of national security. Clear? So I don't think there was any kind of problem in it. Once again I am repeating so that some of the terms you could get very nicely. First, it was the largest ministry state. Secondly, it was ruled by Nawab. There had been ruler was Muslim, but this state had both mixed population. Hyderabad was being surrounded all around by Indian states, so it was very necessary for Indian government to merge it in Indian Union. Otherwise, there could be problem in future for the Indian security issue. Okay. Second thing, Nawab was delaying the question of merger. So it was again a problem for India that if Hyderabad decides to join Pakistan, there would be a permanent problem for India on its national security. Okay, in between Nawab allowed its paramilitary force to attack on the non-Muslims of Hyderabad region. Okay, that was Hindus. Okay, when Hindus were being troubled, when they were being looted by Rajakars, they started migrating to the nearby states. Clear? In that case, Indian government allowed the Indian army to enter Hyderabad, and after some clashes, they defeated Rajakars. They arrested Nawab and made him to come on an agreement of merger of Hyderabad state in Indian Union. Okay. So that was with the Hyderabad case. case, as per your syllabus, we are having the second case of Manipur's merger. It is also very interesting. Manipur was also a princely state. Manipur's Maharaja at that time was Bodhchand. Manipur was a constitutional monarchy at that time. What do you mean by constitutional monarchy? Last year you have studied about it. Constitutional monarchy simply means that there would be a monarch, okay, as a nominal head of the state, but under him there would be a elected body, there would be a parliament type of thing, there would be a public body, public representatives body who would be elected on the democratic principles, and they would be working under king. Okay, king would not be interfering much, but he would be the nominal head of the state. Under him there would be a public representative body who would be working for the state on the democratic principles. Clear? So that was constitutional monarchy. Government of India wanted to merge Manipur in Indian Union. So they were representatives of Home Ministry were in continuous touch with Maharaja, because finally and absolute power was with Maharaja only. So they were in continuous touch with Maharaja Bodhchand and they were making him to understand that if he merged Manipur in Indian Union, it would be more safe, it would be more developed, and it would be more good for the whole region. Okay, so they were continuously persuading, they were continuously urging Maharaja Bodhchandra to merge Manipur in Indian Union. Okay, and finally what happened? Bodhchandra signed the instrument of accession with Government of India. As I told you in last class, instrument of accession is also called merger. It was an agreement letter in which a monarch gets ready to sign or to merge his state in Indian Union. Okay, in lieu he is being provided some or other kind of opportunity, may it be privy purse, may it be freedom to hold some particular property, may it be internal autonomy or something like that. Okay, so Maharaja Bodhchandra signed instrument of accession with Government of India on the question of merging Manipur in Indian Union. He did only one mistake. What was that? That he did not consult the Assembly of Manipur, which was a democratic body at that time, on this issue. Clear? Agree? What he did not consult Assembly of Manipur or public body of Manipur on the issue of merger, on merger issue. So now what happened? He independently took decision that Manipur is going to be part of Indian Union without consulting the Assembly of Manipur on merger's point. And he declared that we have decided that Manipur is going to be part of Indian Union. Okay, and Manipur was allowed to join Indian Union at once. Okay. So finally, what happened? Manipur was made part of Indian Union. Okay, Manipur was declared as Indian state, but there had been serious differences in Manipur's assembly. That why that assembly was not discussed on this issue. Okay, why it was not allowed to have to put its thought on the issue. Okay, so Manipur's merger created a little bit differentiate in the Manipur's assembly. Okay, finally, in Manipur's case, without consulting the Democratic Assembly of Manipur, Maharaja Bhochandra take decision of merger of Manipur in Indian Union. It created a little bit resentment in Manipur itself. There had been many public representatives who questioned that why it was so urgent, why it was done without consulting the democratic body of Manipur. Okay, there had been a little bit anger, there had been some clashes over there. Okay, but finally it has been merged. Okay, now we move to the another thing. Children, one more thing. This year, the Kashmir issue has also been added to your syllabus in lesson number 1, but it is also being repeated in the lesson number 7 of yours, that is regional aspiration. So, Kashmir issue we will be reading in detail over there with lesson number 7, that is regional aspiration. In that, we will be studying it in very depth. Okay, I'll be letting you know that what is the original problems, what are the conflicts, and how Article 370 was imposed and why now it has been removed. I'll let you know all that with lesson number 7. But this year that has been made part of chapter number 1 also. Okay, so children, why will we be studying one thing twice? Okay, we'll be studying the Kashmir issue with lesson number 7 only. Don't worry. Okay, now we move. So, now we move to the last part of the lesson, that is the partition of Pakistan did not brought the end of nation building. You all understood, because there was the issue of princely state. Okay. Merger was taken very seriously. Sardar Patel was working very cleverly on it, and he had determined himself to bring in all the princely states around 565 in the Indian Union, and he did it. Okay, clear? But the merger of princely state only would not ensuring that the India has been united or India has been organized right. Okay, unification work was the merger. Okay, but now it was needed to be organized. What do you mean by organized? Organized means there could be a state which is very large. Okay, it would be difficult to deal it from the point of view of administration. Okay, there could be a state in which there are some regions who does not fit culturally or regionally or religionally within the existing area. Okay, so they should be separated or they should be made part. Okay, there could be some regions, there could be some people who started demanding carvation of their own state. Okay, that could be or not. That could be. Okay. So now the question of organizing these Indian parts in a well-administrative setup was needed. Okay, clear? I'll give you one example to understand this. Just think, first and foremost thing that when India got independent, okay, from Britishers, at that time there had been 14 states only. Now you would surprise. So these days there are 28 states. So how it could be. In the on 15th August 1947 there had been 14 states, and nowadays there are 28 states. So did we attack on some country? Have we occupied some new territories? No, it is not so. Only and only these states are broken and new states have been created. Some states have been created on the basis of culture, some states have been created on the basis of administrative needs, some states have been created on the basis of autonomy demands. Okay, and this all was done so that the organized nation could be built. Okay, a nation which is more stronger, a nation which is more democratic, a nation which is more people friendly, okay, could be built up. That was the purpose. Okay, so first just think, in the 1947, for an example, I am letting you know that in 1947 present day Gujarat and present day Maharashtra used to be a single state, and what it was known for? Bombay Presidency. You just consider how long, how big it was, isn't it? Definitely there would be administrative problems. Definitely people would not be getting their personal recognition, is it? Might be there be people who wanted autonomy on the basis of Gujarati culture. Okay, might be there people who were not considering themselves accommodate or adjust with the Gujarati people. They wanted their own identity, isn't it? So after in 1953, a organization was set. A commission was set. Sorry, a commission was set, and it was State Reorganization Commission. Year is very, very important. Please keep in mind. It was 1953. Many of the times it has been asked. Okay, there are 2 years, 1953 and 1956. Please pay attention. 1953, State Reorganization Commission was set up. What was its purpose? That it would be studying all the areas, the demands of all the regions, whether their demands are genuine or not, whether they should be reorganized or not. Okay, it would be studying all the such kind of cases. Okay, it worked for 3 years, and in 1956 it provided its recommendations to the Parliament of India. Clear? The first and foremost recommendation of the SRC, State Reorganization Commission, was that in India, states should be created on the linguistic basis. Okay, what do you mean by linguistic basis? Linguistic basis means a state's boundary should be carved out on the basis of language. For example, for instance, Gujarat's boundary should be extended up to all those areas where Gujarati speaking people are living. Likewise, Maharashtra's boundary should be extended up to all those areas, or should include all those areas which are Marathi spoken. Okay. Likewise, Rajasthan should be created up to those areas where Marwari or Rajasthani is spoken. Okay, clear? Now, what happened? This particular proposal created a kind of controversy. Some of the leaders said that in national movement, we focus on the integrity of the nation, on the unity of the nation. If states are being created on the linguistic basis, that can be dangerous to the national unity. They said like that. Okay, people would be considering their regional identity first. Okay, they would not be thinking on the point of view of Indian. They would be considering themselves Marathi, Gujarati, Orisi, Bengalis, like. Okay, but later on, central government decided that first recommendation of state reorganization commission would be considered and states would be created on the basis of language. And today this particular decision has proved right. Today it is observed that though states are being created on the language basis, okay, you all know that Punjab has been created on the basis of Punjabi language. Likewise, Gujarat has been created, Maharashtra has been created, Andhra has been created, Tamil Nadu has been created, and today, after more than 60 years, we observe that India is united. Okay, there are no further problems, though there could be demand for the new states, but it has not created the sectionist type of movement, and if there are any, they are being dealt properly. Okay, the State Reorganization Commission also suggested that though states would be created on the linguistic basis, but there would be some situations, there would be some arrangements which would be merging these particular states more with the central government, more with the Indian Union. Okay, they would be kept in the check and balance relationship with the neighboring states as well as with the central government. Okay, so that was the thing. Okay, so State Reorganization Commission was set up in 1953. It provided strict conditions in 1956. States were created on the linguistic basis. Okay, nowadays the cases, the cause of culture is also considered, the cause of autonomy is also considered. In the northeast, you would have seen that some smaller or bigger states have been created. Okay, some particular states have been created on the basis of autonomy, some particular states have been created on the basis of culture. Okay, recently some new claims also have been observed from the different areas to carve out new state. Telangana was a recent example. Okay, likewise Harit Pradesh of UP is demanding for the separation from Uttar Pradesh. Saurashtra also want to be separate from Gujarat. Okay, so these are under consideration. If they are having the genuine strength, they would be considered. Okay, so they are under means they are under observation. These points are still going on, moving on. Okay. So this was the case of reorganization of states which I have told you there. Now we are moving ahead. Now we will see a remarkable example on the creation of the states or the demand of the new states. Okay, that is Vishal Andhra movement. It's an example of that why new states should be created or why it is so necessary. This is an example of that Vishal Andhra movement. What was that? Let us see. First of all, it was led by Putti Sri Ramu. He was a veteran Gandhi. He was a veteran Gandhian. Means he was a strict follower of Gandhi. He demanded, he and his followers demanded that Telugu spoken areas demand just a minute. Telugu spoken areas should be made free from Madras province of that time and declared as Andhra Pradesh. It was their demand. Now what happened? He was demanding for very long, okay, but the central government of that time, Jawaharlal Nehru government, did not respond. Okay, so what happened? As he was Gandhian, okay, he went on. He with his followers went on fast unto death. Okay, that was the strategy of Gandhi, you know. Finally, what happened? On the 56th day of his fast, he got died. Now what happened? It would be the extreme. It would be the extreme. It would be an extreme point of the movement. As soon as he died, his followers started turning to the violent. Okay, they took violence in their hand. They attacked on the bazaars. They burnt the government vehicles. They means the whole region started burning. Okay, there were clashes between the government authorities and the supporters of Potti Sriram. Okay, central government came in extreme pressure at once because a very popular leader from the region had died due to the fast unto death on the issue of creation of the separate state. Okay, the whole region there had been clashes between the supporters and the opponents of the Vishal Andhra movement. Okay, finally the government took the issue very seriously and declared that that those 16 particular regions which were Telugu spoken would be converted into a state, and that state would be known by the name of Andhra Pradesh. Okay? That was the decision of the government, but after this particular incident. Okay? So this was an example, okay, that why some of the states had been created separately from their existing areas. Okay, so this was an instance which would made you understand that what was happening and how it was taken. Okay, there it was really a very sad issue, but it happened this way. Okay, so with this we come to an end of the lesson number 1, that is the challenges of nation building. In this lesson we have studied in detail the challenge number 1, that was the unification of the country just after independence. Okay.